with your Astra because the cooldowns are so long, and it makes the agent look that much better because of the way that people have been playing it and landing those abilities near flawlessly.
Yeah, and I mean, for Trill, BBG, they didn't really previously play too much Astra at all. It was almost always the Omen, so this is a new comp in a lot of ways. They haven't played a whole ton of Sky, haven't played a whole ton of Astra, so it's a new look BBG trying to prove themselves versus a Complexity who also has something to show. It's a Abyss round underway, the first map of a best-of-3 winner, qualifying into the playoff bracket, and Poach, he's just sitting back in spawn. Probably got a cool dart lineup to show us.
A nice little Hiko cosplay coming out from Poach thus far. I mean, the dart goes through, it's taken down immediately, but at the start of the round, lots of damage traded out onto Trill through the Nebula smoke, so it's not damage any longer, it's a frag instead. Dvarkar looked to get onto the site, quickly answered as Poach slowly brings up the rear, and that's a frag from downtown, able to find a response, not before falling himself, so a 2-for-1 is where we find ourselves, make it a 1-for-3, excuse me, as J. Cruel hops into the kill feed. The defense holding stout here out towards the C site, and it looked like BBG, they had ideas of going elsewhere, and then they kind of just got stuck here in this position. You see Trill still very low in health, that being from the start of the round. Now he needs to try and cross over, but he's one shot away from dropping that spike in a terrible spot.
Still trying to walk up here towards the C site. AGM to anchor. We'll have to fall away for the moment, so it's just going to be the retake play out of Complexity. Their Sky is still alive, so is that Sova. They'll have all the util to get it done. A tough situation for BBG.
Spike planted, so credits awarded. Now Will up close and personal. Unfortunately, the last one standing will find 2 before falling, but needed 4, and I believe 5 on the round, as Brock will net himself the fuse, working towards that Hunter's Fury. Either way, it's Complexity with the pistol round here early in Haven.
Yeah, Cole, good start for them on this defensive side. BBG, it was an interesting play out towards that C site. You had your Sova in the way of Poach there, sitting deep back towards spawn, just trying to let that dart loose nice and early, and then kind of maybe play a bit of a lurk there, but it just kind of all goes wrong. There was enough pressure on the site for Complexity to win out on that opening engagement, and then for BBG, they wanted to cut noise and re-exec, but Complexity just play the retake, and Sky is still alive, and, well, if the Sova's still alive as well, it's a tough situation to deal with, as we now find ourselves on an eco round built by gamers. They're playing this pretty split up, just lurking for a freebie somewhere.
And the round, again, starts poorly. This time it's not Trill, but Will take some damage out towards C Long, trying to grab that ult orb. The Complexity doing a pretty good job at weakening their opponents before forcing them into taking the fight. And it is interesting, right, that it's only a couple of pistols upgraded rather than a force. The economy should be pretty good for BBG after finding that spike plant. In the first, as the shock dart looking to delay for now. Another one gonna be sent out. No, it's a Recon. Both traded out both ways as the Skies do the same. Now Poach over the top trying to find the right clicks, but it's Brock to sit him down, and it's Trill to answer with a classic of his own.
Spike
finally,
down,
after going toe-to-toe, head-to-head, agent v agent, which we continue to get some more Killjoy v Killjoy. It's Valen to close us out. It's a bit of damage done on the side of Complexity by BBG, but it's Complexity's second round, no less.
BBG, well, now they'll have the rifles to work with on this third round buy-up. It's a good little anti-eco there on the A site. Execution was quick, and Spike not quite able to come down, so they're not going to be able to get that extra 300 credit stimulus. Regardless, Complexity just working with the bonus. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them try and work some aggression somewhere, do something funky, but it doesn't look like that's happening. Besides, a bit of a heavier lean out towards mid. It's a good call because BBG, again, postured up for some kind of C-split here.
Kalen spotted out. Not taken down, though, so the jump peak gives some information that, again, BBG looking to play for this ult orb. Not yet picked up. We see Trill very close to that Cosmic Divide. The Seekers on the line as well. Guiding Light grabs a bit of info and a blind, but not much more to be found as Rarkar tosses out the dash, gonna go up over the top of KGM, looks to trade out the player behind him, but there's just nobody to be found as the Seekers grab some information of their own. The split across the back of the side, a beautiful guiding light flash, able to net a couple of kills, and we're looking at a flawless round here for BBG. Only one player to worry about in Brock, and there it is to get the first tally in the win column. BBG do it flawlessly.
It is a new agent added on into this BBG roster, but the Sky is looking incredibly strong in Will's hands. A perfect pop flash in towards the backside. That's paired with the Astra Nebula that divides all of the defenders on that C side, and Rarkar and Trail just do well to capitalize. Flawless. That's what you like to see when it is just that anti-bonus. But now I get into the meat and potatoes of this game. A buy-up for complexity and an operator in the hands of J-Crow. It's been a while since I've gotten to watch this guy play, but he's a demon when he has this weapon available.
Just moments away from finding a frag here. Trill privy to the aggressive play out towards C long, but it's not quite aggressive enough for either player to find damage or a frag. For now, it's an owl drone out towards B, a Trailblazer out towards C. So there's split utility across the map, keeping this complexity squad guessing, as the stars might just delay things inside of B. We also see those nano swarms placed down to try and stop a plant themselves. The shock dart deals with 2/3 of the utility, but still one nano swarm there, and I believe it was Pop to try and delay. And speaking of Pop, Rarkar gonna get his great pop as he pushes through Garage. Poach is there to trade it back, and I mean, we've just had the buddy system, the back and forth this entire game as the op shot lands for J. Cool. Now he's stuck in a tough spot. Valen looks to play the cross. Trill's able to find one. There's the trade kill, but it's still a player down for BBG as they both look to push up. Out from C-Long, out from Garage. The shot's not enough to find the frag as Will pushes through. The Hunter Shuri closes out the round, and Brock not needed on the site as Complexity find their third.
Complexity, good job there at defending towards the C site. C Valen actually playing a very disciplined style. He got flashed out immediately, just takes cover, baits his teammate in way of J. Cool just a tad bit, but he's able to find the trade frag and then go passive towards the backline, play this double setup, and we'll get it down to that 1v1 that the Hunter's Fury can quite easily convert off of. I mean, you mentioned the buddy system, and BBG had a good understanding of it, but once it got down to the site execute, Complexity just went out on the trade game.
And J. Crew with the blades this time.
No.
I'm not too sure if the Trailblazer actually spotted the Jet here in the corner as he creeps around. Will goes down, guiding light in hand as the knives will back away. And it's an unfortunate spot as Poach couldn't trade out the frag. So the Jet sneaks away. The buddy system once more starts to pay off. Valen looks for something with the grab. Well, not going to find anything just yet. It's True to push right after and eventually will fall. Now Bjor trying to play the trade frag, but it's Valen good for 2. And Complexity, 5 still alive here as they look to grow their lead by 3. Poach and Rarkar might have something to say about it. And again, it's the fight down C long. BBG have been losing that all game.
Yeah, that they have. It has been a tough fight to lose at that. Oh my god, J. Cruel. He's just able to find a clean shot, takes out Poach, and now it's into this 4 versus 1. Rarkar, low on HP, a turret queued up to meet him, and well, this one just should not be doable. The dash away to survive the mollies, but you're not surviving. J. Cruel, it's 3 for the Jets, and I mean, that push out from A was so perfect. I don't know how the dog didn't see him.
Yeah, and it was what the dog had kind of leapt at the drone, and then you're in this situation where that's kind of, you know, like a Reyna dismiss, right? That jet dash, sometimes you don't have the angle to trade, and it really started, I guess that was kind of the first layer of what was a 3-kill round for J. Cruel. If he doesn't find that, if he gets traded out there, that round probably ends so incredibly differently for BBG, but unfortunately that is just not the way the cookie crumbled there as Brock tosses out the Recon bolt, and unfortunately it looks like it gets snagged onto the wall maybe a bit early. So not grabbing the information that he's hoping for. Forced to back away. Now the A site completely opened up. Complexity look to play retake. Brock to hang out towards heaven.
Oh, AGM, he's aware of the possibility of a play out towards mid, but he doesn't overcommit off of it. Just holds that information and will hold on to the B site. It's high instead will be tested out towards garage.
Blaze gonna go wide. The last one won't land for the frag. It finds the damage, but it's not enough for the reset. And again, BBG just tossed into the grinder. SoaR and Valen were good for a couple of frags. Drill able to grab one with the Sheriff. The weapon unretrievable because J. Cruel is right here on top of it. Finally, that weapon will be picked up. Trill picks up a second on the round. A 3v2 situation with a couple of low members across both teams. This BBG, again, on the back foot. The spike will be planted and nobody in the direct vicinity as that shock dart goes wide. Brock has one more to work with. A Recon bolt as well. And an Astra just inside the Nebula smoke. Both players here. Guiding light goes through. Brock going to be run down as the spike continues to tick with Valen. Now the next on the chopping block. Able to find the first, but not the next. Trill en route for the ace. Tosses out the star as AGM tries to get the spike halfway. Just can't do it. Nice grab well. Going to pull the Killjoy off. Now vulnerable in the duel. It's the low HP members. It's the back turned and the ace for Trill for BBG to cut their deficit in half.
BBG, the push out towards spawn is absolutely crucial. I mean, if you're Complexity, you think you have them surrounded. You think you have them routed from every angle, but it just doesn't happen because BBG knows that they have to get something done. They have to push forward and find themselves a nice early frag, and well, that's what they do. It's a fight towards spawn, and 1v1 AGM has the wrong read. It loses out on the 50-50, and BBG up to 2 now. Still, their economy is in a pretty rough spot. They lose this round. It's again back into that situation where they're getting near to a reset, and for Complexity, they still have weapons to work with. And crucially, they still have an operator in the hands of Jake Rule.
Ooh, and the dog.
I've got your trail.
Gonna go wide. There's Rarkar. Looks to make a play just behind it. The Seeker's used on top of it all. So the A side, everybody's starting to get pushed away as Jake Cruel tries to make his way back on. Unfortunately, has to answer to Rarkar. And he will fall. It's BBG in the driver's seat off the back end of a Trill ace here. A 4v2 as that spike gets planted. The grab well. To pull Poach into a tough spot that he's able to sneak away. Vulnerable is the Sova. The live and well. Valen up inside heaven. Trill looking to find a backstab here. AGM might be the first one on the chopping block as that Astra continues to creep towards the side. And at the very least, I mean, it's attacking-sided squad. Now BBG, they get to play containment. It's usually the defenders we see in a situation like this, but any way you try to go, you're going to have to answer to a member of the BBG roster, and instead it's Poach on the site to pick up the 2 on the way out, and near flawless as BBG pick up their 3rd.
Yeah, just the fast execute out towards A is incredibly successful for BBG. Something has clicked. The cogs have started turning in their head, and they've started to win out. Rarkar finding a very successful frag there, and I mean, for Complexity, they had the lockdown in this position for AGM, but the loss was already too great to even try and commit that ultimate. I like the call to just go for the heroics, play a bit of the percentages there, but regardless of that, it's looking like a 4-4 scoreline, because Complexity, they're reset, and BBG are now the ones building their money into a good spot.
And a shock dart to try and deal with some of the utility. Do find a bit of damage onto AGM as well, so making the B site a bit more approachable. As it's the Sheriff in the hands of not only the Killjoy, but the Sova just on the outsides. Brock tosses out a shotgun, unfortunately just a bit short, so not able to find the frag as Trill picks up the first on the round. The spike just planted a Complexity in a tough spot here in the retake. Not only being a player down, but obviously the Arsenal a deficit as a guiding light. Grabs the flash, grabs some info, and this should be an easy close for BBG, but now the numbers are even. There's a couple of vaults to work with as well, and I'm wondering what gets invested here as the round nears its close.
Well, Rarkar, good spam there. All they have to do is deny this spike from being defused, and well, that defusal just isn't going to come through. Time is already so far gone. The spray is so strong and straight through the wall. The final 2 members of Complexity are cut down. It's a bit of damage a bit of damage dealt by Complexity, but it won't be enough to find them that round. Weapons back up to work with J. Cruel, back with the operator, and they have a lot of ultimate abilities to work with here. Should be able to fight back for a round.
A nice little tie game we've got here in the first map of our upper decider, which means the winner of this series will make it in it to playoffs. The loser has to play another series to try and fight for that spot or quite possibly be sent home. And you talked about it, the weapons in the hands of Complexity, most importantly, the operator in the hands of J. Cruel. Gonna net the first frag. Jet v Jet. Rarkar's taken down. And it's the blades off the table as well. So if you wanted some extra firing power for BBG, unfortunately, you just lost it.
Yeah, that you did. It's a very tough man to lose early on. We've seen his power into these late rounds, but not gonna happen in this one. Complexity feeling good, and I like this little push here. They're working their way out towards A, just playing that double setup. That's allowed by the turret that they have playing contact towards sewers, but that setup won't be tested. Instead, it looks like the final play might be out towards C, and you see that the defenders of that site are very passive. They know that should it come down to it, so many ults are available to win out this post plant.
It's just the turret continuing to tick away with 30 seconds left on the clock. One of the Cosmic Divides available used. We'll see if Complexity opt in to using theirs. The Nano Swarm on the site, and the Shock Dart actually going to get rid of it. So Trill takes some damage, but maybe a favorable trade in terms of utility. As J. Cruel goes up on the box, Trill spotted out, taken down as he looks to leap away. Nobody there to make the trade. Now Cosmic Divide of their own, and somebody's going to have to get inside.
One enemy remaining.
They can look to just stick the defuse here. It's all up to Will. He has a Cosmic Divide to play around, and Brock just sitting right on the spike, going right back towards the Hunter's Fury. The spike is stuck. The round is won. It's a one-round lead for Complexity.
Yeah, very big round there for Complexity. They knew that that was the round they needed to win. You lose there, your money starts to get rocky, and BBG really had that momentum built up, so they put some stock into it. Two ultimates invested. The second the spike is down, they put the Cosmic Divide of their own up, and well, then they combo that with the lockdown. It would have been suicide to push through that Astral Wall and take the fight on the site, and J. Cruel, he was there early to ensure that it's a good round. Now we have to see if they can regain that consistency that we saw earlier in this match.
Here.
And they have the Blaze to try and get it started as Ohai stuck in a tough spot. Nano Swarm going to force him into that back corner. Not finding too much damage, but, oh, there it is on the way out. Knives able to find the first. The alarm bot could back Rarkar away for now, and AGM gets spotted but lives. One characteristic of Rarkar, not to toss out a knife there, but it's Killjoy chipped away 50 HPs. Rarkar goes right back to it, a second kill on the round. The tip of the spear quite literally with these blades. Continues to push onto the side. No ace on the table as the rest of the BBG squad starts to hop into the kill feed. They leave it all into the hands of J. Cruel, who's stuck on the opposite side of a map in a 1v4 situation. The spike planted BBG will tie us up.
You just want to hold on to this operator if you're J. Cruel. No reason to commit into a 1 versus 4. He might even be able to find one on his way out, but the timing does elude him. Rarkar will likely continue this hunt and try and get the op out of his hands. But for BBG, these quick hits towards A have been very, very strong. Complexity tried to play a setup out towards long there. Ohai got stuck in a tough corner, and, well, another teammate came to support, but both fell, and then it just came down to that desperation. Two players trying to work quick to deny that spike plant, but it just didn't happen, and now we have a situation where J. Cruel's alone, trying to find more exits than the one he's already picked up, and he might just die. Cloudburst in desperation, spray coming through, but he just narrowly lives.
Wow, what a heads-up play there by J. Cruel to stay alive, just dancing in and out of the Cloudburst. As we get to take a peek at how this round started for BBG, and it was almost Ohai sneaking away there, but the utility usage just over the top, allowing for so much. And I love that, you know, the ball doesn't lie. If AGM was meant to die to Rarkar, he will die to Rarkar, and that's exactly what happened there. At the end of the day, Complexity did hang on to the operator. It's over towards the A site. But a nice recon bolt. Gonna get some extra information onto 2. And quite possibly now known by BBG that the operator is here holding this angle.
They don't want to have to peek this unless they have the support. It's a good flash, but ROKER doesn't actually commit off of it. Poach's drone stunned up, but still makes its way on over to find a tad bit of information. BBG still no clear route to victory here. They're still working around this default, and Complexity playing a rather passive game. No one pushing up for information or space. They can garner enough just off of their initiator's utility alone.
Standing ahead.
Oh, that
Blocking sight.
is not what you're hoping from your recon bolt. To send that one out onto the turret. ROKER takes a bit of damage. That gravity well, I mean, it was narrowly missed on the vulnerability to find that frag with the shocker, but either way, the spike now in a tough spot for BBG. Complexity looking to reclaim a lead, and all they have to do is nest egg here on top of this B site. They're already a player ahead. There's only 20 seconds on the clock. It's your jet that is on. Nobody can get in and get out quickly as they look to fight their way through it. They're running out of time. They're running out of members. It's all up to Trill. There was an ace earlier in the game. Unfortunately, not in his sights this time around as Complexity reclaimed their lead. Now 6-5 as we go into the last round of the half.
I really like how slow Complexity plays that round. In some of these previous situations, they got a bit overzealous. They took the early fight. Sometimes we're losing it. They positioned someone out towards long who got trapped out in that corner. But in this round, they just sit. Anytime that BBG pushed forward in utility for information, Complexity had an immediate reply, so it just stayed at this deadlock. And BBG in the end, they tried to make this Hail Mary exec into B work, but the alarm bot was perfect. Spike plant was denied, and the rest is history. 1 round left in this half, and if BBG can pull this back, we could be looking at a tied game here. Operator in ROKER's hands, but he hasn't found his chance to shoot it just yet.
The shoe spotted. ROKER creeps up and gives too much info to J. Cruel, and it's just enough for a jet with an operator to find a frag. As the guiding lights go through, it's only going to look to force this Complexity squad back as they make the footsteps as if they were rotating, but they're still hanging out towards a long. Trill looking to find his way onto the flank. Unfortunately, there's so much utility out towards this B area, and on top of that, a player there as well. Brock making sure that nobody creeps on through. Recon bolt gonna go out. J. Cruel still able to find the frag. Now the knives come through. The first 2 kills of the round make it 3. Go the way of J. Cruel. The 4th one will fall. Complexity looking to grab the better half of this half. 7-5 is where we find ourselves as we swap sides.
Switching
Gonna hop to a
sides.
quick break. When we come back, we're closing out map number 1. Another second half here on Haven, another 7-5 as Complexity have a lead as they look to mount their attack. It's up to BBG to try and hang on here as 7-5. Maybe we know that this doesn't always mean a lead,
That's
but
how you survive.
in that sense or in that sentiment, it's up for BBG to win this pistol to try and cut that lead down.
That it is. Complexity off to a hot start here as it looks to be quick out towards the middle of the map. Rawcar receiving for a moment, but he doesn't want to take that fight in the 1 versus 5. Instead, the utility will be the first point of contact for this pistol.
Yeah, they tried to be quick out towards B, but they're answered by just so much that they don't really have a way in. Now they slow things down and look to chip away at what was wasted as they set their eyes on the C side. A nice guiding light to find a flash. That being on to Trill, but it doesn't matter. Still holding it down, looking for more as will bring up the rear as they're cut down to their final 2, making a 2v2. But the health bars, they're low. BBG still incredibly healthy as Brock, the last one standing, and a shock dart's all it takes to sit him down as BBG, they find the pistol, and they look to tie us up in the anti-eco.
Yeah, very strong util setup there out towards the B site. It's the alarm bot as that first point of contact from Bjor. Then a grab well is initiated off of that, and then out comes the mollies. I mean, there's just so much to contend with that Complexity was forced to fall back, make a new plan, make a new course of action, and well, that C site just wasn't quite successful. A well-played 2 versus 2 from BBG to bring us to a 6-7 scoreline. Just the pistols to work with for Complexity in this one. Should be a gimme round for BBG.
Should be, but we've seen sillier, especially on the day. Trill only good for 1 this time around. The pistols start to come online. It's a frenzy down to be retrieved for Complexity. They've assumed their spot on the site, and you know, you're kind of assuming that you're going to lose this round. So finding a spike plant, not too bad. And well, that one will hurt the ego just a bit. The Trailblazer frag comes the way of Ohai. Now Bjorn trying to push on through. Excuse me, comes the way of Will onto Ohai. Is inside the Cloudburst. AGM will hang out, but not enough, not sneaky enough to find the 2 remaining frags. As BBG will find another. The damage has been done. We're all tied up here on Haven.
Now we are 7-7, the scoreline we're working with, and well, they're built by gamers. They must be feeling just a little bit better after a tit-for-tat half. It's a winnable one for this squad, but their biggest test is against the rifles of Complexity. Thus far, Cole, they've showed us speed, and on the defensive side, it was very, very slow, very defaulted from them. Play passive, make your opponent make the move, but we'll have to see if that continues here, because it looks like at least the posturing is for a quicker hit out towards A. It's actually only 1 player in way of Poach to hold down the fort.
Damage done in that last round puts Complexity quite a bit ahead in terms of arsenal. It's just the bonus for BBG, and I would imagine maybe a couple of upgraded pistols. The Owl Drone, not going to find too much there. It's actually Rarkar with a Vandal in hand, looking to get aggressive out towards long. Spots out J. Cruel and takes him down. Jet v Jet, Rarkar out on top, and BBG here on the defense. Looking pretty solid thus far, trying to reclaim a lead. It's been quite a bit of time since they've been close to one of those, and well, here it is, just around the corners. The shots go wide. The tailwind used to get out of dodge. Brock going to toss out the Recon bolt for some information. It's a cloudburst, but the bolt taken down. Now will queue up the guiding light, but it's not needed just yet. As Complexity on the back foot, down 2 players. 40 seconds to work with here.
Might just be cutting noise and heading back out towards A. Will this buy a rotation? It just
30
might.
seconds
Rarkar,
left.
he's backing up. AGM break clearing some space. He's aware that a flank isn't coming just yet, but Rarkar's still in close. Will finds the info. The swing is there. Which picks up Valen. It's a good trade for the death of Will, but just look at that time. 17 seconds. Spike has to come down, and Brock and AGM, they're doing it. This ult will have to be placed by Complexity to try and pull this off, but there's still the opportunity to make a play past it. Drop down there. Brock has the shot to leave it to Trill in a 1 versus 1. The headshot is good. The shock dart just misses, and now the situation is very, very winnable. start to come forward. Still Brock with the gun advantage. He's jiggling in and out of cover and commits time to push the drone up towards heaven, but Trill, he'll take that same opportunity to rotate down low. The Stinger recovered, but Brock will find the angle. It's the better weapons of complexity to win, but just narrowly.
That was not a round that they should have won. And again, it gets difficult, right, when you get into the grounds of right there, your rifle kind of falling by the wayside. You saw Trill was only on the Ghost, and then the only retrievable weapon as he pushes through is a Stinger. So that's such a tough spot. Rarkar was kind of the player they needed to stay up in that round to make it winnable, but it was so close. It was down to the wire, and I mean, a couple of heads-up shot from Brock to find those wall bangs, to be able to close out those rounds, to make sure that there's no opportunity for a repeat, for a clean fight, because we know just how strong that Ghost can be, especially in the hands of these players, just like we see in the Sheriff. And it was BBG's round to win. Unfortunately, they lose. So they don't find a lead. It's complexity to go back to their lead that they found going into the half, and now looking for some more. They try to be quick onto the side. It's a guiding light, not going to find too much. Poach through the Cloudburst, able to sit down Jay Cruel. Again, BBG look to hang on here, and this one look to tie things up as Poach will find another. Will is there to back him up. Rarkar not needed on the A side this time around, as it's all up to the initiators. It gets down to the wire. It gets scary for a second, but it's BBG to tie us up.
Oh, hi. He made me a believer for a second there. Thought something was gonna be able to come out of this, man, but it doesn't quite happen. BBG hold things on with their arms and are able to take themselves to this 8-8 scoreline. Complexity, money's now looking rough, and I think they're gonna have to start reconsidering how they play these rounds, because thus far it's been these very quick hits and then very rough post plants. Like, consistently, BBG is able to pick someone off early, find someone off of a flank, find some cheeky kill somewhere, and set themselves up for success on these retakes. Complexity, they're gonna have to change something up, fix some of these issues, because this map is pretty important for them.
And this is such a scary place to be, not only because you're down on pistols. Well, I guess you have that one Spectre here in the hands of Jay Cruel, and does find the frag that it needs. Now weapon retrievable for the rest of your squad. Trill forced to use some of that utility to try and keep everybody else at bay from pushing onto the site and swarming the Astra. The backup is here, the Seekers as well. Jay Cruel finds another to 2 for 1 as Brock hops on the board. They're swinging everything in favor of Complexity, but only for a moment, as BBG, a player down, but Rarkar, knives online, the spike to be planted. We'll see Poach bringing up the rear with his jet in Rarkar. Recon Bolt not going to find any tags as they play out towards long. 3 Cloudbursts to work with here. 1 Nano Swarm going to try and buy some time, and that's everything in favor of Complexity. As the Cloudburst goes through, tries to buy enough. There's the peek from Brock. It forces the blades out from Rarkar. You're running out of time. If you're BBG, we go blades for blades as J. Crow looks to come around the corner. So much damage again by Brock through the wall, playing the angles as Poach tries to hop onto the spike. He just can't do it. Back and forth we go. Nobody able to claim too much of a lead as Complexity will grab a 1-round win at that.
And that's the thrifty that they find it on nonetheless. BBG, they're going to be reset down onto the eco here. It's a very important one for Cole to pick up. And I mean, to put this in context a little bit, this map would be huge for Complexity to win, because previously they really did not play Haven whatsoever. They banned Breeze out in this series because they're just not a huge fan of the map, but previously they were banning Haven in a lot of these rounds. So it's interesting to see them doing so well, and it's exciting to see Complexity doing so well on this map, as now they'll find themselves a free C site. BBG stuck into the retake, but I love this from AGM. He's already positioned out towards mid, just gonna make himself a thorn in the side of Complexity, but he also has to live, and well, BBG, they're not gonna let that happen.
And BBG again, the lesser weaponry. Coming on through, we just caught a thrifty round. We might be matched by another. As it's a Stinger retrieved, or Stinger in hand and a Vandal retrieved. Look to take the site. I mean, they really just ran down the clock. They don't have a whole lot to work with as they push on. They've only got a couple more members to worry about here. It's Valen out towards the back of sight. Now it's Brock all alone in a 1v2, but plenty of time. Chipped off the clock. The spray down is there, and Complexity will pick up a 2-round lead off the back end of Brock's clutch.
Wow, I mean, we almost go thrifty for thrifty, but it's Brock to save the team yet again when it comes down to these clutch situations. The new addition looking excellent on the role of Sova. Oh, poor Will. That shot wasn't even destined for him. He just walked into it and ate it straight into his face. 3 rounds away now from Complexity closing us out, but BBG Love Money back in. And I mean, calling back earlier into that round, it was a player on the lurk there. You had AGM out towards mid trying to get something done, but BBG pinched onto him, recovered that weapon, and well, that first weapon was the catalyst to make that eco nearly doable. But we have a brand new round and we have a brand new look. It's BBG aggressing down mid, but they will be forced away.
Quite a bit of time already taken off the clock. This time it's working in favor of BBG. There's a minute left to play with in the round for Complexity. That spike picked up, creeping out towards that mid window area. Maybe the A site where the Killjoy is set up for now. And it's not really a setup to find the kills, but more so for the information as that op shot doesn't go wide, it lands, but it only finds a bit of damage. So a tough spot to be in. You would love to have that early frag and that player down, especially in that Killjoy. Takes away some of that post-plant power. 4 members from Complexity stack up out towards mid, looking to hit this B site. Poach going to go through with that Recon bolt. He's going to find the tag on the planter, but they already know that Valen is there. He's trying to sneak away as the Nanoswarm comes through. The Astra does manage to escape, but only for a moment as Trill finds the first frag on the round. The lockdown looks to push everybody away from the B site. But Brock seems to be safe there as the Nanoswarm comes through. It's all about the utility now unless somebody is brave enough to push through the Astra wall as one player gets detained. They look to queue up the flash. The op shot close. AGM finishes off for our car. It's a bloodbath on the B site that refused to come on through, and it's AGM who's too far away and will eventually fall to try and bring things up. It's Bjor instead. It's BBG now cutting their deficit down to 1.
Trill, he will not find himself the ace, but he will find the team the round. 4 kills across the board, and I mean, you just can't push that cosmic divide, but when you're given no choice, sometimes you have to do the impossible, and well, in this situation, it does not work out whatsoever for Complexity. They had an initial blind through, but Trill, he managed to turn the flash, and he went absolutely massive for BBG. The lurk out towards garage off of that whiff shot from Rakar could have been huge, but again, just a matter of timing. It doesn't work out. 1 round, again, the gap.
This one's felt like a game of inches. The back and forth. And we've yet to really see anybody claim too much of a lead. I feel like 2 rounds is the most that we've seen. The Trailblazer looks for some info. Both teams playing this one nice and slow. An op shot goes wide on the drones. The operator across the map towards A. Looks to send Complexity out towards C, but nice utility from BBG to delay things for a moment as Bjor continues to hold it down. That garage position not given up for free, and it might just force another B hit. This time, though, Complexity are the team with the Cosmic Divide, and there it is. Recon bolt on the backside, guiding light as well. Again, BBG going to be forced to fight through it, but do they have the angles? Nice guiding light as Will finds one, making a second. He's cutting everybody down, make it 4 on the round, leaving it all into the hands of AGM once more, who picks up 2 in response, but has 3 more to go. Needs to find Stop on the defuse, needs to swing again, looking for the wall bang through the cloud burst, not able to do it as BBG will tie us up once more.
I mean, you just cannot contest BBG on this B site retake. As 2 rounds in a row now, an individual goes absolutely massive and manages to pull the round into their favor. The blind from Will was absolutely perfect, and while the spike comes down, it was just such a tough position for AGM to even consider winning that round. And I mean, the punishment for that now is it's just going to be the eco for Complexity. It was looking so good for a moment. It was looking like they might be able to close things out, but now BBG, they're likely to fight for 11 here.
And that's a pretty good start. AGM taking off the board as the drone just not in time to force Rarkar away. J. Cruel gonna flirt with the idea of death here. Jumps around the corner, gives up too much, and Rarkar will find another. Now Complexity down to their last 3 to the 4.5 of BBG as Brock, excuse me, Poach taking a bit of damage. And speaking of Brock, well, he's taken down as well. Rarkar nearing the ace, and BBG nearing what looks like their first lead in the game. As Trill finds one, Rarkar finds another. Now 11-10. It's late here in Haven. It's the 21st round. And finally, BBG, I mean, they've got some room to work with. And yeah, as you take a look there, I think that is their first lead in the entire game, Mimi.
Yeah, I mean, it's constantly been BBG playing catch up. Now they have the opportunity to dictate their pace, and well, who'd allowed it? It was Rarkar. Rarkar, I mean, he's not the newest addition to BBG, but he's the second newest guy to hop on in, and he's just looking fantastic. I feel like there's been some moments for me where Rarkar was a bit underwhelming, but it's not happening in this series thus far, and I do love to see that for Built by Gamers. Complexity have a buy into this one, but can they get it done? BBG looking for match point, and that's a cool little shock dart lineup because it gives that that any angle or that trick shot call, so he knows that he broke a piece of utility with that shock.
You should run.
Lockdown used here on the attacking side. It's going to force out Poach's Hunter. Shuri, one in response. This one out towards the C site from Brock. Looking for something. Unable to find it. I believe just a bit of damage. So one tag onto Bjor, who's also vulnerable. Out towards the back of the side. His kills go back and forth. It's a 2 for 2, but inside the air fryer goes high for just a second. He manages to survive as the flash comes through. The shots won't land for Bjor. He will eventually fall. But the 2 remaining against the 3 for Complexity are very healthy, and now it's only 2 for Complexity as BBG just about full HP on both members. And unfortunately, the Seekers go through, but for Ohai, you cannot heal yourself here on the sky, so it only take a swift breeze. The shot to the Radiant box with the operator, not going to land for the damage. The wall bang will as Poach cuts it down to the last. BBG trying to grow their lead to 2, trying to find Matt pointed off the back end of a Poach 4K. They will do just that.
Yeah, Poach, huge plays in that round. And I mean, Rarkar as well, finding some nice early impact with the operator. Complexity just not catching a break in these post plants. They've tried to have AGM out on alert. Every time that gets instantly shut down. Again, something has to change here, and I feel like they were moving in the right direction with this round, right? They played it a little bit slower to start, took that contact out towards B, then finished C, managed to get themselves man advantage, but it's just the impeccable utility usage from Brock. He's been so good on this Sova. Excuse me, that's Poach, rather.
And proven to be, I mean, versatile, just as we've seen. That's something that you need to have if you want to have a strong squad, and what we're seeing a whole lot more of. Rarkar up in hand again. Gonna get blinded by the guiding lights. The drone might just fish him out this time around. Needs somebody to help him out and take down that drone instead. It's a guiding light for the flash. It's the shots to land to take the drone down in the op now. Completely known, but a leg shot onto Ohai again puts Complexity in a tough spot because you can't heal yourself on the sky, so you're already kind of playing a player down, but the odds have been even as Valen pushes onto the site, finds Trill, has the spike in hand, nice dink onto Bjor, looking to open things up and hang on for just a second is Complexity. As they plant that spike, the regrowth, the top off the squad. Now it's BBG, again, on the retake and working against the clock.
Shock darts will miss for the moment, but one player still incredibly wounded on Complexity. No heal available for Skies. It's Rarkar, first point of contact, pushing out forward here. Blade Storm in hand. Will finds one. It's Jake will cut down. And there's still smokes available here for BBG. Rarkar playing in the Nebula. He'll dash forward. Second right click misses, but the shorty is out. The shorty finds a frag, and Bjor adjusts out of nowhere. BBG